When the pressure is high and the energy low, that's when your business needs inspiration to change and to grow. It's also when true captains show up. Hi, I'm Mark Francis, and I'm the host of this podcast that invites industry leaders from all over the world to answer the question, who's your captain? When you need to motivate and to mobilize, to develop and enable your team. Whether you are new to being a leader or you aspire to be a captain, this podcast is for you. Welcome everybody to Who's Your Captain? I'm Mark Francis and I'm joined today by Lucas Wilson. Lucas, welcome.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. It's amazing.
I'm super excited to have Lucas on the show today because CEO of an amazing company called Signpost. It is exclusively US based, but it is growing in a very healthy way. And it's so cool, the timing of this, Lucas, because you're exactly 2 years into being the CEO of Signpost. And I'm just going to say a little bit about it, which you can expand on. And then I'm going to ask you, what's your own progress report 2 years in as the boss of Signpost? Now, Signpost is a really cool business. It's a SaaS business, so software as a service. And it is focused on, it's really the forward face of home services being gardening, cleaning, plumbers, all of those services we get at our homes. And this is a brilliant software solution for actually both sides, I think, right, Lucas, for homeowners, but also for the suppliers to homes.
That's correct.
Awesome business. Now, tell me, 2 years in, CEO, what is your progress report? Give yourself a review.
I'm glad you started here because I will tell you this. I think I arrogantly 2 years ago would have said I would be at an A at the end of 2 years, right? and I will very humbly tell you now that I think if I managed a C in these first 2 years, that would be a gift. Because so many things you have no idea that you're getting ready to address, and so many opportunities that you're getting ready to handle. A word of advice was given to me by a mentor, and he said, everything is going to be on fire, and your largest just accomplishment in life is going to be determining which ones just have to burn. And I remember thinking, sure, other people that don't have my energy level, don't have my focus, don't have my drive of execution, sure, that's correct for them. I will get the fires, right? And I am going to tell you right now, I have a path through a smoldering like wilderness fire that I have cut out, but there is a fire all around me. So I would say prioritization, I have absolutely sucked at. Because there are so many things to drive and to deliver. I think driving culture, we've won at because I'm very passionate about who we serve. And I'm very proud of the team. When I look at our internal communication, it's all about how we impact the customer and then the customer's customer, right? We really dive into that. So I think that, but that's not something I've done. That's something we've done as a company, right? When you look at prioritizing and executing, I think we failed because I think you everything that you have prioritized and you get it 90% of the way there are other fires that have now come up that have caused us to then have to reprioritize and try to execute again. Limited resources. History, we've recapitalized the business. We had ourselves in a horrible position before and weren't really able to effectively serve our customer base. And so you've done things in a resource constrained manner. All things to be said, if I got a C in these first 2 years, I would be grateful for the C. I would probably rate myself at a D and say, man, do I have so much more to learn over the next 2 to 3 years as well.
Which brings me beautifully to what you said first time, which I've written behind me because I absolutely loved it as a reflection of good leadership in today's world. Low ego, high want.
Correct.
I love that expression. I've not heard it before. Maybe it's a Lucas Wilson expression, but I'm capturing it for everyone else because I feel it's the essence of brilliant leadership in today's world. Can you tell us more about that? What do you mean by low ego, high want?
So if I could give you an analogy, right? So I'm going to tell you how this was formulated in my world. I grew up in a sports family Grew up, my dad was an athlete. Everybody was an athlete, right? And I had these aspirations of being this world famous athlete, as I think all small children in the Midwest do, right? Played basketball was my sport. Actually happened to be very good at it. Actually happened to be at a high school level very dominant with it, athletic and just
Cool feeling, isn't it? I
oh,
was
it's a
similar
great
at high
feeling.
school level.
It's literally
Yeah.
the last time I felt that way was around 17 years old. I think it was said to me
Yeah,
the other day
me
is
too.
that no one cooler on the planet than a 17-year-old, right? Like you're the greatest in the world, right? What you realize is then you go to the Division 1 level and you're
Yeah.
not even good enough to even hold down the end of the bench. Like it's just not, and you're not. And I had a position coach tell me one time, hey, your job is to be a good practice player. Your job, literally, you're never going to see a court of action. You're never going to see meaningful minutes. Your job is to make everyone else around you better. And I remember thinking, probably at that age, I was about 19, right? I would say there was probably a gesture with my hands and fingers on my hands to him and me saying, I'm going to prove you wrong, right? And what I've learned is there is literally nothing wrong with owning your role. And so when I look at low ego, high want, the thing that you can't teach is the high want. So what I look for in teammates, I look for folks that don't care who gets the win. I look for folks that care that we get the win, which is the high want, right? It doesn't matter who did it. It matters what we did and that we accomplished a charter or a mission. I used to always say, I look for student athletes. I hire male, female student athletes, volleyball players, swimmers, anybody who is competitive. They can take coaching. They daily get their butt kicked. They have to show up the next day and do it all over again. And I've expanded it really to be honestly, it's the low ego, high want. It's not just a student athlete. It's the low ego, high want. And the ego comes in two forms. And I know you didn't ask for this, but I'm going to give you the two forms.
Bring it on.
Okay. The first ego is the one everybody knows about. It's the gentleman. He's 6'4", a great $5,000 suit. He's got the Rolex. He stands taller than anybody else in the world. And he is prepared to tell you that he is 50% of the company's income for the last 15 years. I crush every target I've ever, like that's the one. That's the ego that quite candidly, he's earned the ego because he's got the track record to back it up. Right? He can show you where it is. Makes you nauseous when you're around that human. I've been
Yes.
that human. And
So have I.
you get humbled and get your legs taken out underneath you enough times that you kind of lose that ego. Here's the ego that I am convinced is more damaging to a culture and to a company than that ego. That guy gets you numbers and people are
Yeah, at
not.
least he delivers, right? Or she. At least they
He or
deliver.
she delivers. That human delivers. People might look at him and be like, I'm not going the extra mile for that person because I can't stand them, but they will deliver at the end of the day. The ego that and it's for some reason we don't talk about it enough. There's an ego where my ego doesn't want you to know what I don't know.
Oh,
My
gosh, yeah.
ego won't allow me.
Self-protection.
Correct. I'm not going to
Yeah.
ask you for help because I'm guarding this over here, right? So I
Yeah.
don't want to share, because what if you decide you don't need me? What if you decide you don't want me on your team? And my problem with that is you're not delivering. So you're not this arrogant human. You're not delivering for me, right? But at the other end, you're not getting any better any given day because your ego won't let you get better, right? You can't.
Yeah, it's passive
like,
arrogance. It's passive arrogance.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's out of fear. It's a fear of
Yes.
what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I? And the unfortunate part is I've had so many projects because I personally believe a lot of people have invested in me. And the guy I am today is not the guy I was 15 years ago, right? Because of the people that have invested in me and put up with me and put up with my mouth and my arrogance and my ego and, humbled me. And they're willing to take that call and give me the advice I need. What I have learned is when it is a fear-based ego, the unfortunate part is that's for you to fix, not me to fix. I can't fix the fear-based ego. I can't.
Yeah.
I can tell you I believe in you. I can train you. I can give you the tools. I can put my arm around you. But at the end of the day, I can humble or bring back the person that delivers and is a little too arrogant. I have never been able, and probably there are people better than me that can, but I have never been able to get someone that struggles with that fear-based ego over the hump of fear. Fear is just to me, it's damaging. I don't know how else to put it. It's very damaging.
It's so cool and so thought-provoking. So many little connections. I grew up in Wimbledon, so I was a really good tennis player. And at 17, I thought I was the one, right? And then I played at a junior tournament at Wimbledon, and I played against a guy who became a Swedish Davis Cup player, Johansson. And I was 3-love up in the first set because a big server, big volleyer, big ego.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
he just slowed the game down and he started to move me around. And I didn't win another game. And it was that lovely moment where ego in check.
Yes.
And okay, I know my level now. And let's
Yep.
just be a bit more realistic about life.
That's it.
But don't lose drive. Don't lose the want. That's what I love about this expression is just tame your own ego, but have a desire that's relentless.
Yes.
So I'd love to talk about Signpost. So I'm going to ask you some simple questions to answer, really, but it just gives a lovely context. How many states do you deliver in the United States?
We're
of the
currently in
50?
every state. Yeah, we're every state. I think the one we're not in is maybe Alaska, if I'm not mistaken, but we currently have some kind of exposure across all states.
Really cool. Well done. How many team members do you have? How many Signpost employees are there?
We're a touch over 40 currently. And then we also employ some contract work because our work kind of ramps up and ramps down.
Seasonal? Is it
Yeah,
seasonal or is that project-based?
No, it's seasonal because if you think of who we serve folks who become a little slower in the winter, a little busier at different
Oh,
times,
yeah.
or maybe
Yeah.
they do become busier in the winter, but it's very ad hoc. Whereas it also we swing with the economy. If sentiment in the economy is great, people are making repairs to their home. If it's not, maybe they're
Yeah,
pulling
got it.
back, right? So we feel personally that we support one of the strongest pieces of our U.S. economy, which is that SMB entrepreneur, that owner operator. So they have some flux in their world. So we need some contractor flux in and out to be able to help with that as well. But we hover around the 40 to 45 full-time employees.
Good for you. How many customers do you have? And you can treat customer quite broadly. I mean, external points of contact. Could be
Yep.
contractors, certainly direct customers as well. How many do you have?
So direct customers, we're a little over 1,500 currently.
Ah, that's very cool. Good for you. And what's the aspiration? Do you have a growth aspiration in any sense? Is that revenue or number of customers or
Yeah,
what would you say?
I'm going to give you a dreamer, right? So I am very
Yeah.
much, I am a builder. I would say I took up woodworking and welding here not too long ago. And I feel like I was looking for something that got me away from my phone and Slack and email and allowed me to kind of get that out. And I realized one of the things I really like to do is build things and see it then come to life. And so I measure our growth we have a thesis or business statement that folks who are these owner operator entrepreneurs, right? They need a back office solution or a way to basically communicate from stern to bow. It goes from communication, which is the phone, to we're an omni-channel world. So you're getting Facebook ads, you're getting SMSs from folks, you're getting emails, you're getting website leads, you're getting all the way through to scheduling, to invoicing, to billing, to then knowing what's going on with your business and the return on the money that you're putting into it. So we feel like if we handle that for you, you can go be great at your trade, if that makes sense. So how
It
I'm
does, totally
measuring
does.
impact is how many of those customers that we have are actually utilizing our full suite of products. And then each time we roll out, that's another addition to that. What's our adoption rate? Right. So if we
Yeah,
roll out
yeah, I get
something
it.
and no one wants to take it, then we've kind of missed the mark somewhere, right? We've missed it. But we would like to see ourselves over the next couple of years get to around the 5,000 customer mark. By the end of 28, we'd like to be at 5,000 customers who are fully entrenched in our service. I'm not looking to be a 100,000 customer business. I think that's kind of converse to who we're looking to serve.
Love that. And so it's treble your business over the next 3 years or so, maybe 2 years if you're right on the money.
Yep.
And what would you say in terms of and it was the first question I asked actually, Lucas, in terms of your trajectory, where you started from and where you want to be, how have you made that change? Because there are loads of good changes. You've talked about those, like customer centricity has been established, for example. How have you done that? How have you grown? How have you stabilized the business?
I'd say putting the customer first. When we came into the business, one of the first things that I observed was I received access to a Google Drive, which was every board deck from the last 6 to 8 years, right? A lot of value, just great. I always admire people that can put a board deck together because I do a great job of telling my story. I can't put it into PowerPoint. I always struggle with that. And so I was looking at these, I'm like, man, just great decks, a lot of great information. One of the things that I came up with though, every quarter was a different theme. Every quarter was a different initiative, and every quarter was wrapped around what we're going to do to gain another round of investment. So if you think back,
Okay, fascinating.
last
Yeah.
10 years, different capital market, investment was heavy. People were putting money into everything, but we're a very VC investor-based business, right? And so my first partner I brought over into the business, her name is Cindy Anderson. She's a go-to-market specialist. She's just brilliant with understanding what the customer needs. And the first thing she stated was, we've never focused on the customer. This company has never focused on the customer loop. I'm like, okay, where do we start? She said, we start chopping wood. We go call every person that's churned. So we split up probably 2 to 3,000 customers and called through people that we churned and just want to know why. Why did you leave us? And you hear a massive amount of stories, right? But I would say one of the strong points or main levers that we've used to stabilize the business and put us on a path of growth is truly defining who we serve, number one, not being afraid to narrow that way down and say, look, we
Yeah.
are home services.
Prioritize. Yeah.
Correct. We're under core 6. If you're a roofer, plumber, HVAC, pest control, like this is who we are, right? We believe that we can serve a lot, but first we're going to start right here. And then just understanding what they need. And I'm going to tell you, I can take no credit for this. I believe Sydney is one of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with. And she has a passion for talking to the customer, and it shows. And so once we were able to outline that, then we got a product plan together and said, well, we can't deliver all this because we don't have this unlimited funds, right? We don't have $50 million sitting in the bank. So what do we start to do? We just started knocking out. We want to use AI. We don't want to tell people that we're going to use AI. We just want to use it. I think that's a world we should be in. People are tired of hearing you say that you use AI. Just show them how you use it, right? And they should never notice it. It should just make things more efficient. So we just started slowly chopping wood to become more efficient and honestly focusing on quality of service and focusing on customer needs. It helped us drive towards that 3-year product roadmap, and we've been able to stabilize the business doing so.
So I'm hearing one big rock, the first big rock, helped by Cindy, was this idea of customer centricity.
Yes.
Ask them what they want and why they left, if they churned. And then would you say it's like a product focus second? Was the next big rock, which products are the
Yes.
ones that will make the biggest difference for our customers?
You're dead on. That's exactly because we knew you can't do everything. This is the first time I've been in an extremely resource constrained business. And I actually have quite enjoyed it because it forces you to say, we can only do one thing. So what's the one thing we're going to do? And then you just get really good at that one thing. I think sometimes funding opens you up to just hire this big team and let's go and you do a bunch of things kind of halfway, right? Where we knew we wanted to nail communication. That's the first lift for us. We want to be able to answer the phone 100% of the time. We also realize that technology can facilitate. One of the things our guys struggle with are the pros that we support. They get a ton of spam. You and I know this. Our phones ring all day long with spam, right?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of theirs, they can't answer every call. They don't know which one's a customer and which one's just garbage. So we'll weed that out for them. That was the first thing we started going down. Then most of these people are texting from their telephones, personal telephones. They don't have anybody saved. They don't have a way to track the messages and keep threads together. So we build an internal messaging hub software platform where they can see. We just start chopping wood, right? You just slowly start getting these pieces together. And you just, I think one of the things that helped too was we consistently reference back, how's this impacting the customer's customer, right? Like how are they interacting
Crucial.
with their customer? Because we learned they'll adopt it. Our customer will use it if their customer will use it, right? Like if it works the same way for them.
That's really cool. So we got 2 big rocks. Is there a third?
I think culture.
Is there a third big rock? Culture. Right. Tell me more.
Culture's huge for me. Yep. So I have been very fortunate. I grew up in an immigrant household where my grandparents were immigrants. They started business, very involved in a family business, right, over time. My world has been SMB focused for my entire life. I was one of the original employees with Angie's List, started out on the phones there after coming out of my family's business. And then I made a goal that I was just going to stay in this SMB world. My whole life has been in that because I feel like there's a bucket of consumers out there that are underserved in software and underserved in service because, and no shot at any VC or private equity world, but when you gain investment, you typically hear, how do we take this up market, make more money off of it? How do we get $1 billion valuation? And the typical answer, if you're being accurate, is we have to leave the customer that got us here. That's typically what the answer
You
is,
need
right? That's
different,
the only
you
way to
need target different customer. Yeah.
right. You've got to find somebody that's going to pay you more. You've got
You
to
need
drive
bigger
your
fish.
correct. Drive your
Yeah.
ASP up, sell them bigger products, do all this stuff. I had the fortune of coming into two founders at Homebase, John and Rushi. They maniacally focused on serving the customer. They never left their core customer. And I had the opportunity to work for them as a CRO and really drive that revenue side. But what I
Chief
learned
Revenue Officer. Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
yes. And sorry about that. I think they impacted me more than I impacted them because we went through COVID together, and to watch the CEO and how he was so determined to nail it for his customers in a time of need. And he went dark on us for a couple of weeks. We all didn't really know what was going on. And then he comes back and he's like, here's what we're going to do. Right. And he's probably one of the kindest people I know in life, just a good human. And he had a passion and a fire on his face. I remember the call because I'm sitting at my house working from home the first time ever in my life. Right. And I see him and he's vigilant of times of need, drive technology adoption. Our customers need us more now than they ever have. And I left that call believing it, right? Like I was
Yeah.
like,
No, exactly.
you're,
Wow.
you're right. I've tried to carry that over in my world because I believe what we're doing at Signpost, our customers truly need. We're not we're not building rockets. I'm not Elon. We're not sending things into the atmosphere, right? No one's curing cancer at our company, but our customers count on us to help them pay their mortgage, their college debt, their, truck payments, feed their employees. They count on us to be the bridge between customers and them. They count on that because they know the trade. We know the business, right? And they count on us to do it seamlessly. And so infusing our company with that culture, I think what has helped us keep the positive momentum and keep our business not only steady, but be able to invest and start to see that J curve come up because every person on our team, it's not always going to, I always tell the team this, it's not always going to be this way. We're going to grow to a point where some folks are going to take this opportunity just because it's a great job. Right now, because we're under 50 employees, we happen to have everyone here that believes in what we do. Right? Everyone here is passionate about the customers that they touch. Everyone here is passionate about what they do for their customers. I'm not misguided. I understand one day we'll lose that. I get that, but I think it's really great now that that cultural piece is where it is. I think it's a rock of what we do.
Love that. Thank you. And beautifully, you've described the vision of your business. It's super clear to me. And how you mobilize it, how you refocused, I guess, on customers, on products, and on your people. Tell me more about your focus as the CEO, Luke, in terms of how do you develop your people? What's your style, method, strategy for people development?
So I struggle with this actually, and I'll tell you, I think it's what I used to think development was is not what I currently think development is. So, and I'll tell you, very arrogantly, I used to pride myself of being the guy who got people to their next role, right? I can get you where you need to go. And I unfortunately think that's a very self-serving way of looking at it. And what I've had to learn in a CEO, this is where I would grade myself probably in a D or a C category.
Not yet great.
That's there you go. I've realized that I have to be all things to all people. So guiding some people is sitting down here in my office. I have a couple of little armchairs that are on the other side of this desk, and they just want to sit and have a conversation, right? And I can talk to them for 15, 20 minutes, and I can really drop a few things that I think they should work on, but it's just passing conversation, right? And then I have some team members that need very explicit, clear, hit me between the eyes with what I'm doing wrong. Because if I don't, they're not going to get it. It's like it's going right over the top of their head. Some need to feel like a partner. Some need to feel like I'm leading them. Some of them need to feel like they're leading me, right? Like I think that's probably the piece that I was like, man, like every single person here needs something different. How the heck am I going to mentor all these folks? So what I've tried to be is it's now the time for me to be the most authentic, genuine Luke I can be. So I am going to be here for you. But I am also going to tell you that I have a fiduciary duty to this business and to our customers. And I'm not here to carry you. I'm here to walk arm in arm with you. I am not here to carry you. And unfortunately, that's life. That is life in general. It's no one's going to carry you through the hard times. I will lock arms and I will walk with you through the hard times. But I think a big lesson for me has been I can't get everyone to that next level because they have to want it as badly as I want it for them. But I've tried to adjust the way I used to be a very intense human where, look, I'm ripping your head off if we're not
I'm
delivering.
shocked about that. That shocks
Yeah,
me.
I know. Imagine that. I mean, I would rip a room apart where I'm like, look, there is nothing short of an A plus, right? Like, let's get this done.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I realize not everyone relates to that, right? And so I think in this 2-year journey, it's been very important that I don't break anyone because I feel like I have great people. And so if I break someone, I'm actually losing a great part of the team. And I've never felt that way before because it's always, well, hey, it's a hiring thing. They couldn't cut it. They're not good enough to be on this team, right? Well, now I'm like, man, my grandpa used to give me an analogy of I'd rather have the rattlesnake that I have in my hand than reach in a bucket and try to grab one. And he used to always say that hiring is reaching in a bucket and grabbing a rattlesnake because you just never know, right? You don't know what you're getting. And I know I've got a great team, but I've got to figure out how to be better for them. So that I know that probably doesn't answer your question, but it's trying to give them the type of education or mentoring or guidance or pushback that they need. And then the kind of variable is in the timing they need it. Because as it's happening, some people want feedback. Some people want a day to think about it and me to come back to them later. Some people want me to send them an email at the end of the night so they can review it. Some people want a Slack message. And it's an ever
Such a
evolving
good
process.
point.
Yeah.
Such a good point. There's so many things I want to just highlight that you said. One of them as a leader is accessibility. Here are the two seats in my office. Just come and let's just talk.
Yeah.
Huge point. The other one is treat everyone differently. And I think that's the hardest lesson I found when I was first a manager. The way to manage is to be fair with everyone and treat everyone the same. And it's catastrophically wrong. As you've just described, you have to be different for everybody because everyone has different needs. The other thing to say is about how people are motivated, and you alluded to this. Some people are achievement motivated.
Yes.
And some people are actually relationship motivated. They just want to connect. And through connection, grow the business, not grow the business and then get to know each other. And then the other real big motivator of human beings is about growth. So some people just want to grow. They don't necessarily want to target or achieve something else. They just want to feel that they are adding more value every day, which is a growth driver rather than an achievement driver. And I think that's, if you don't understand which one of those big three each of the people that work for you are, you cannot adapt your style to their needs. So achievement, growth, and this other point about relationship driver.
I agree.
So fascinating. I'd love to.
I'm sorry. No, I apologize.
No.
I've stopped also. I think it's key. I've stopped saying, I used to always say, I need everyone to be treated equally. I think that's very, very important, right? I stopped using the word equal because I don't agree with equal at all. I think everyone should have an equitable opportunity to win. Right. So and it was a changing moment for me. I was very frustrated. I actually took a very self-pity way. And I'll tell you, I was always, as the CEO, everybody wants me to make the right freaking decision, but no one agrees with it. Like, it doesn't matter if I was talking about office snacks or our insurance selection for the year, I'm the bad guy always, right? And I was just poor me. And then I started thinking to myself, no. This is because you're trying to make it equal for everyone. It's not equal for everyone. It's
equitable.
Yes.
Not It's not about equality in that sense or
No.
equalness. It's
You
about
all should
equity.
have
I
the
don't think that's a
same
big difference.
opportunity to achieve. Everyone, it does not matter who you are, you should have the same opportunity. But I will tell you, some people are going to have to work harder because they don't have the academic pieces, or some people are going to have to work harder because maybe you're introverted and not an extrovert. And so you've got to work really hard to be this extroverted person in a sales role or whatever. And that helped kind of turn the light on for me where I was like, oh, no, I need to open every door and I need to give the tools for everyone, but what they do with it is on them. And then I can help them, and I need to make sure no one should ever say I didn't have the opportunity, right? Everyone gets the opportunity, but what you do with the opportunity could be very different from what someone else next to you does.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I was putting my thumbs up to say absolutely spot on here. I'd love to now pivot. One of the things when we talk about I want is the drive to grow, to hunt for high quality, more business. I want. But you're not just a hunter, you're a farmer, in fact. So tell me a little bit about how farming, as part of your life as well, has helped you to be a great CEO.
I think it's taught me patience. So if anyone who has property understands that there is always something broken on the property. Always. This is a running joke in my household. There is always something broken. There is always something needing to be fixed. The cool weather hit us here in Central Texas. I can promise you, every year I know when it hits, a pipe is going to freeze, something's going to break. I have extra plastic piping because I know I'm going to be fixing something in the freezing cold. I went out to go on a pheasant hunt. I hear over in a pasture that's closest to my house what sounds like water coming up. I already know what it is. I guarantee you the valve broke on the line that I've got that runs out there to water animals, right? So using that as an analogy, I was frustrated. I want to go hunt. I want to go on a pheasant hunt. I don't want to sit here and fix this, but you're forced to fix it because I can't let thousands of gallons of water rush out, right? Taking care of animals, I will say with animals, they need your attention. And what is really great to me is they're always happy to see you, right? Every time I go out to my animals,
Yeah,
I even have
so
an old
true.
grouchy donkey. He wants to act like he doesn't want to see me. He wants to see me. He absolutely does, right? But they need you to help facilitate their ability to eat, their ability to get fresh water, their ability. And it's caused me to be patient and realize I'm still not as patient as I need to be. I would challenge that, but there's a process. Everything has to grow. Everything takes 2 or 3 stages. You can't just jump straight to the end result. And I think my personality is very brute strength. I will just get to the end result. And what having property has taught me is there's multiple cycles to this, right? Nothing's going to happen today. You've got to lay the groundwork. You've got to have fencing. Then you have to have proper, housing. Then you have to have proper water supply. Then you have to, and all these things that you learn that you didn't know when you started out. Tools make it incredibly easy. The proper tools. Grading a driveway with the wrong tools will frustrate the living daylights out of you. And guess what? If you don't grade your driveway and it washes out, you don't get out of your property. So like there's pieces that I've been forced to learn. And I think as a CEO, it's taught me this also is a project. There's a reason why CEOs put 3-year plans together and not a 1-year plan, because the 1-year plan is not the end goal, right? It is going to take you some time to get to that 3rd year, and you're going to be much better in that 3rd year than you are in year 1. But you got to have a longer term plan to get there. And I think transitioning from being a sales and marketing leader to being a CEO was harder than I would have anticipated because of having to look longer past I need to get
Fascinating.
this sale. Right.
Fascinating, and true in farming as well. The allergies at the moment in farming are a major challenge, a
Yes.
major challenge where you're
Yes.
living.
Yes.
Let's pivot back to Signpost, your amazing business, because I'd love to ask you right now, we're 2 years into your CEO role. What's the big challenge right now? What would you say is the big challenge you want to embrace and succeed against right now?
Truly figuring out how to get entrepreneurs to adopt technology without confusion. And I'll tell you
Yeah.
why I want to put the caveat of without confusion. I think our world right now inundates everyone with what you should be using, you should have, you should do. most of the customers that I serve are not tech savvy. They'd be like myself, where they function through tech, but they're not engineers, right? And they
Yeah.
also spend the majority of their time building their business. So they're not sitting around online trying to dive into technology. I would also say my core customer is very leery. And I would even say this with me. I can go to LinkedIn right now and I have 1,000 messages on LinkedIn that tell me how they're going to reinvent my business and make me profitable and going to spin up my go-to-market engine and give me 10,000 leads and I'm going to close at 90%. It's just going to be great, right? And so I think our business, the people we support, are also getting that same inundated messaging, right? All people like myself that say, just let me do it for you, right? It's kind of why we stopped. We stopped using let me do it for you because of customer feedback. We started saying, let me give you the tools for you to own this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're the type A personality that wanted to start their business. They want to own it. But I think my biggest challenge is, how do I put technology in front of them that is seamless enough that they can own it, but it's doing all the work for them, right? To where they have control. And it just gets back to making sure that the customer's customer is who we're truly solving for. Because if it's easy for their customers to interact and it's easy for their customers to pay their invoice, for receive their invoice, give feedback, all those pieces, then our customer will be okay using the technology. But I do think it's a big hurdle because I also think with AI in the world, it's an amazing tool. It's also very misleading because there are a ton of misguided people out there that think AI can do X, Y, or Z, or AI is bad and it's going to take over every job in the US in the next 16 months, right? You're just like, no, that's not the case. And I think it's going to be a challenge in getting folks to be comfortable with technology because of the way it functions for them.
And in terms of those entrepreneurs you talk about that aren't necessarily tech savvy, they've got other things to worry about. You said to me earlier that when we spoke at this point about you use AI, but you don't want to talk too much about it because it's a
Correct.
further distraction. You just
Correct.
want to provide a simple solution that actually has AI connected to it,
Correct.
which I thought was a great point.
I don't think so. I'll tell you this. I think every board deck that goes out right now has something about their AI initiative. And we actually don't have an AI initiative at all. Internal tools, we look first at what AI can solve for us. External tools, we look first at what AI can solve for us. It's a part of our development and research and production process. We don't have special slide decks around what AI can do. We're looking at just every part of our business. Our customer shouldn't be concerned with what AI is doing for them. They should be concerned with what the end product is. Doesn't matter if it's a human doing it or AI, and they shouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two, right? Our AI should be good enough that it's serving their needs. And when our humans are engaged, it should be good enough that it's serving their needs. But I really believe where we'll win in the long run is not having AI as an initiative. We just utilize the tool. We use it to make ourselves more efficient for our customers.
Yeah, do you know, it's interesting. I'm in a meeting next week with a gentleman that I've only just met. It's a great guy, Simon. And Simon said, I'll get my secretary to arrange the meeting time and place. And there's no question that the secretary that I got an email from is an AI
Yeah.
secretary.
Yeah.
You know, you have enough signals to go, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yep.
But actually did exactly what I wanted, which was, here are some suggested dates and times, Mark. You pick the one that suits you and we'll get it sorted. And I picked the one, and then immediately the email came back saying it's in his diary. Simon's looking forward to seeing you.
Perfect.
And I just thought, job done, right?
Yeah.
And
Perfect. Perfect. That's
that's
what
the
you
whole
wanted.
point.
That's what you wanted. Yes.
And Signpost, does it work that way? And this is just me understanding a little bit of your business. Sometimes a customer service is one of your people and it's personalized. And some of that customer service or the communication interface is AI driven. Is that right about
Yes, that's
Signpost?
correct. That's correct. So we have a big advantage
Smart.
because we're playing in a startup world. So we've had a rejuvenation, a reinvention of what we do. We've become very focused and said, we're not going to be a CRM. We're not a review platform. We're not all these things that you used to know Signpost as. We're not. We're focused on communication. This is what we do. But we have a very distinct advantage. We have 10 years of customer conversations from our live receptionist team,
Yeah,
right?
that's cool.
So we can take all of these customer communications and feed it into a learning model, right? And really teach our AI of what our customers want, which I think gives us a leg up.
Yeah.
I also think it's a huge advantage that we're solving for one thing, and that's customer communication, right? So we know that where we utilize and deploy AI, it's specifically built to solve this communication need versus us using it 15 different ways across multiple different offerings on our platform.
So I encourage anyone who needs help with home services to get in touch with Signpost. How would they do that? And whether that's the entrepreneurial provider or someone that's requesting that,
We've
how would they get in touch with Signpost?
we've made it quite easy. You go to signpost.com, multiple places to click through, and then we'll meet you where you are. If you want a phone call, if you want a text message, if you want us to email you, you let us know. But signpost.com, it's the easiest to remember, and it's also just the easiest way to get in contact with us.
Love that. Two more questions. Big ones, of course. If we had another conversation in exactly 1 year, so it would be your 3-year review, what will have happened that you're most proud of? So this is very much projecting a year's time, and you are focused on growth. We know about that, quite significant growth. What will you have achieved as a business at Signpost that you as the CEO would be particularly proud of in 1 year?
We will have deployed a back office solution that empowers the owner operator to run his business seamlessly with us handling all the back end stuff that drives him crazy. That
Cool.
that
That's
to
really
me,
good.
that's where we're at in a year.
Love that. Love that. And good luck with it. That's really, really cool. Now, I'm sure anyone who's listened or watched has got a lovely flavor, both for your energy and your passion, not only for the business and your people and growth, but for self-improvement as well. That you want to get better and be a
Correct.
better CEO. You've scored yourself a very modest, low ego D, maybe a C, right?
Right.
Um, there's so much value shared. And for me, a lot of that's in your energy. You know, that the energy says, yes, we can, and let's be open and let's learn. That's the energy I get from you, Luke, which is really cool. What would you say are your top 3 tips for anyone that wants to drive change in their business, just like you have within Signpost over those 2 years? What are the top 3 tips for what I would call a captain of change?
Yep.
What are your top 3 tips?
So I'll start at the very top, and this is the least financial rewarding position I've had the last 25 years. This is paid the least. The most rewarding to me I've ever been a part of because I believe in what we do. And I think there is the number one thing, you have to be passionate about what you're solving, right? And I am passionate. Like I would do it for free. Let's not tell anyone because I don't want to do it for free. But
Thank God we're not on a podcast.
yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, that the whole world's going to listen to here,
The
right?
whole
No,
world.
you've got the number one thing, you have to be passionate about what you're solving, or that energy is not going to come through. Mine is a very sincere energy because I believe in the people we support, I believe in the team that's counting on me, and I believe in what we're solving, right? So that would be my number one thing. The number two is lose the ego, both the fear and the arrogance, because
Both those types, yeah.
correct, because at the end of the day, people want to see you win. I can promise you that. You're surrounded by a group of people that want to see you win. So stop with the fear, get that out of there, right? And as a CEO, there are 1,000 other CEOs just like you failing at the exact same things that would love to talk to you about it. I'm telling you, it's been an amazing community for me to be in because every CEO that I talk to that's in a similar situation, he looks like he's losing hair and he's got the same bags under his eyes that I have and all this stuff. And we start talking and we're just like, man, I just wish I could nail it for my team. I wish I could nail it for my customers. I wish. And you start to then just really humble yourself, right? Because there's others that are doing the same thing. And I would say on the third piece, really define what you're trying to achieve out of this. Because when I say, like, this is not a role that you can't have an end game with. There has to be, what are you trying to achieve? Do you want to be known for something? Do you want your bit? Is that what, like you said, recognition as a driver? Maybe it is the exit and a selling of a business, and that's okay. That's all right too, right? But know what you're driving to. If you can be passionate about what you're solving, you can lose the ego, both fear and the arrogant piece of it. And then you truly know in your heart of heart what your end goal is. And you can communicate it. This is my end goal. I personally believe that you're going to drive yourself to success, and you'll be able to navigate all the ups and downs because you'll have the vision clear, you'll have your ego in check, and you'll be solving something that you're passionate about, and it'll help you get through the hard times.
That's just fantastic. What a great way to conclude this brilliant podcast, Luke. And I just want to say a huge thank you, because it is a time in the farm where there are one or two allergies that are impacting not only your
As
voice.
You can tell. Yes.
It's awesome that you said, yeah, we're still doing this, right? We're
Yes,
still
we
going
are.
to do it. But the amount of honest, open feedback to yourself, and therefore of insight for everyone listening in and watching in, is top drawer. I've really, really enjoyed it. And I just want to say a huge thank you to you, Lucas Wilson, Captain Lucas Wilson. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.